Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best-selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we inspire you, and we encourage you. And let me tell you, today we're going to educate you with an amazing, amazing guest, a dear friend of mine. Yes, Coach Lisa. No, yes is her name. She's a coach, and her name is Lisa. So let's welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. Let's give her a big round of applause. Miss, yes, Coach Lisa. Welcome to the show, Lisa. Woo-hoo! Come on.
I get a little fist pump.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what. I know the amazing, beautiful woman you are. Please introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, Lisa.
Oh, yeah. So, yes, I am. Yes, Coach Lisa Charles. I have a business called Embrace Your Fitness. It's fitness from the top down, inside out. And I'm just dedicated to helping people be able to bust their stress and build this kind of internal resilience that they can rely on for a lifetime.
So how did you come up with the yes? I love the yes, and right. Yes, you gotta. I think sometimes we do have to say yes more often, and there's times we got to say no. But I love the yes, right? Because I think so many times we pray for the opportunities, we want the opportunities to come in our lives, and then they come, and at that moment of impact, that moment of truth, to step out in faith in our business, we say no.
Yes,
because we don't believe it for ourselves, and we're scared, and we allow that scared feeling to take over us. Where did the yes come from?
well, I love when things like this happen. So I was in the midst of writing my book last year, and I was really taking all the components of how I've trained people over the years, how I've moved them to sort of this brain body connection. And I believe in the Holy Spirit spoke to me. This is a word that I say all the time to my clients. Find your yeses. Don't say no. Some people say no before they even hear the question. And so I love to just have people engage with what I call that internal yes, that little yes that really wants to lead the show and sometimes gets caught up in our lives muck and mire that we can bury it. And so just to bring the yes to the surface, it came to me in a dream.
I love it.
And then it just spelled everything that I had been living and working. And so it is one of those, I think it's like a fine pair of clothes that you put on and it's yours. Put my yes on, and I knew this was my official title.
I have an interesting question for you, because I love the way God just opened up this segue, right? Because I think so many times, like you hear the Chihuahua, right? Yeah. You know what? Yes, yeah, right. And I'm saying this because I'm part of a couple of tribes, and we have these feeds, and everybody's there. Yeah. But then when the moment of truth comes, when people, right, they talk the personal growth journey, they speak the personal growth journey, they live it. I'm not saying they don't live it, but then when the moment of truth comes to make that monetary investment, oh,
it's a no.
It's yes. Yes. And man, that like, and then when I call somebody out, I'm like, look, you talk this story, you're talking this talk on social media, you're walking this walk on the feed that we're part of our group. Why ain't you making the investment? You want to be a professional speaker, you want to do this, you want to do that. Like, it takes an investment in yourself. But it's amazing. That's the person that's going to ask you for all their free advice and get as much as you want. And then they get mad and they say, right, I'm a believer. So I'm going to say this, well, I thought you were a Christian. Well, yeah, I'm a Christian, but let me tell you, I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in myself. And when I first started, I had a speaking coach myself. So I have the right to say, hey, people that pay attention. But so many people at that moment of truth say no. Why do you think that is, Lisa?
I think that a couple of things. One, they really don't know who they truly are from the inside, the value that the gifts that they've been given, the talents that are standing ready for them to take on the world to their level of excellence. They don't embrace it. They may know a little bit about it, but they don't embrace it all the way. The other thing is just pure fear. So I think people just dance in their fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of, oh, what if it's the wrong decision? Or, you know, I don't want to invest in something that I can't be guaranteed that it's going to yield X, Y. So they live in fear and they don't realize that their no's are what is the reason why they don't advance. And those no's, it's not just being able to say yes and the easy things. You know, a lot of people say, yeah, hey, you want to free this? Yes. You know, it's, can you say yes at moments of consequence? Can you say yes?
I love what you just said, right? Listen to it, ladies and gentlemen. This is a part of the show where I want you to get out your pen and paper. Get out your pen and paper today, because Lisa's going to drop some massive value, some massive wisdom. And you need to hear this, ladies and gentlemen, because maybe it's you right now that just listen to what she said. You say yes to all the free stuff. You say yes to the free book. You say yes to the free training. You say yes to a free lunch because it's free. When is the time you're going to really invest in yourself? When is the time you're really going to make a monetary investment in yourself? You know, in my book, I talk about having a poor-minded financial inner economy, the makings of a millionaire mind. And so many people don't realize that they default to that poor-minded financial inner economy, and they think that way, and that program runs their entire life, and they never make that investment. Lisa, it breaks my heart.
It really does. I almost say, to me, it's like they also revert to that little child that's afraid. So someone says to do something in it, and it's a protective thing. So unless everything lines up, unless I can see the future and see exactly what's going to happen, it's easier for me to say no, even if I'm living in sort of a misery state. And see, I know the state. I know exactly where I live. I know exactly my complaints because I make them every day. So what if you had an opportunity to maybe step a little bit into the unknown? It's unknown for you because you don't know what's going to all come out of it. And that's okay. But if you never make the step, you'll never know. That's why I just did a lecture about fear, and how fear, I think, is a big F for a lot of people, keeps them from everything, keeps them from their own personal freedom, their own financial freedom. It'll keep them from ever really experiencing what it is like to live a free life, free where you're not constrained with your mind, not constrained with negative thoughts, not constrained with whatever your experiences are, because we've all had things that maybe weren't the most positive in our lives, but you don't want to live by those your entire life. So when an opportunity comes and knocks, you got to be ready to say yes. And I love helping people just to find, what is the thing that's blocking you from your yes? What is the thing that's blocking you from your freedom and from your true life that you were meant to live?
So let me ask you this. So I love what we're talking about. So what are two things, two steps to walk somebody through this, right? How do somebody's listening to this amazing show with you today, and they're like, Lisa, what sounds good? But you don't understand, right? Maybe they're retracting back to that victim programming. We don't understand. Lisa, I'm a single mom. I have 3 kids. My husband left me. And oh, Daniel, you don't understand. I lost my family. I lost my dad to cancer. Hey, guess what? I lost my mom to cancer. I lost my dad to cancer. My wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. I could have played the victim. I could still be playing the victim. What are 2 action steps somebody can take listening to this show today with you on it? Share some of your wisdom, please.
So I'm going to say, you know, having the foundational seed of taking the steps to know who you truly are, so you know the value. These are the 2 steps. I'm going to call it honest living, being honest, and being incremental in some of the steps that you take every day. So you have to be consistent incrementally. And you have to be honest. And when I say honest, any client I ever have, I have to make this first promise. This is the first commitment, and it's in writing and it's verbal. It's that you're going to be honest on every step that you take. So that if we say, or we come together, you say to yourself, I'm going to go to this class, or I'm going to take this training, and then you don't take the training, what you're reiterating to your body is that you can't even trust yourself. And it's devastating, because you'll see that you'll repeat that behavior. So if I can get you to be honest in everything, it's going to be how you move your body, how you fuel, the ways that you feed your body even great information, and that you do it consistently every day, you know, that will pay so many dividends. I say those small steps done consistently over a period of time bring a lifetime of change. So honesty pledge number one, I'm telling you, it'll change your life. You'll catch yourself so many times being dishonest with yourself. If I can catch you catching it and you can turn that around, you're going to be in a position really to really know how to claim your yeses, but also to know when is the right time to claim it for yourself.
I love that. So, and if you think about what she's saying, ladies and gentlemen, maybe you're like me, you're growing in that trust. Well, if you have trust issues, maybe you have those trust issues because you're not trusting yourself.
It's very dead. It's, if you go through it, and when I have clients actually go through a journal for just 1 week, see how many times you don't live up to what you said you were going to do. You got up, you said, I was going to do X, Y, Z, and you only did Z. And you said, well, because I have this reason, that reason, this came up, this. All your mind knows is that it can rely on you not to rely on yourself. And so
say that again. That's a good one.
It can rely on you not to rely on yourself.
Boom, baby, come on.
And then the critical moment comes, and there you go. You say, well, I don't know how I got in this, or I don't know why I always fall this way. I don't know. It just happens. No, it didn't just happen. It's what you did to yourself every day. It's what you say, and it's the promises you keep or don't keep. That's why those things happen. It's never a surprise. It should never be a surprise to someone when they fall short. Because I can guarantee you, if I worked with you, you would see how it led up to you falling short at the critical moment.
So, ladies and gentlemen, ask yourself this question: where in your life, in your entrepreneur journey, are you breaking your promises? Maybe you're mad at the world right now. Maybe you're mad. You're blaming it on COVID. You're still blaming it on COVID. You're blaming it on the economy. You're blaming it on the state you live in, the city you live in, your ex-coach, somebody. You're blaming everybody. But it's the fact that you're not keeping the promises to yourself. And maybe you need to forgive yourself.
That's a biggie. I love that.
This is powerful stuff, Lisa.
I love the forgiving yourself, because the thing that I don't want, and that no one should do, is it's not a question of beating up on yourself. It's a question of awareness and then recommitting. So I say to someone, it's like someone saying, oh, I was in this great program and they had this opportunity. I didn't do it, and so how long are you going to live in your regret land? Or are you going to get on board and say, okay, well, when's the next opportunity? And let me make sure I'm ready for that. And let me get ready for that. I learned from this last thing, that I don't want to miss out the next time something comes around, but I don't have to bask in sadness or regret land. I can forgive myself for that, and I can move on and then be ready for the next thing. Get myself ready, do the things I need to, and bring in the people I need to bring in to help me to be ready for the next opportunity that comes knocking, so you don't miss it.
Wow. I love what you're saying, right? So you're just dropping some massive wisdom in the conversation. So let me ask you this, because you mentioned this in what you're saying is, why do so many people beat up on themselves? Why are they hard on them? Why do they beat themselves up? What's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a huge thing. I actually really looked at what true wellness is. And when you say that, true wellness starts with this whole concept of love. We all heard the word love. Love, people throw it around. Some people say it with meaning, and some people say it's a separate thing, but it's the foundational thing of everything that we do. And so if you don't have that kind of love for yourself and a real understanding and appreciation of yourself, and that's even if you have things about you that you are working on and changing. I'm not saying love is not perfection, but it's at a ground level saying, I'm worth it. I'm a gift. I'm worth improvement if it needs to be improvement, growth if it needs, but I am worth and worthy of doing those things that are going to advance my health. And then loving on your neighbors helps loving on yourself. So it's so tied into one another.
So does somebody beat up on themselves because they don't love themselves? Is that
because they don't love? They don't love themselves. They don't know themselves. They don't love themselves. And then they're trapped. They're sort of trapped in this paradigm where they only can see the negative They only can see the regrets and the things that may have gone wrong in their life. I don't deny those things. We all have things. But the point is, do we live in the negative coin of it, or do we flip it to the positive side? For every negative, there's some positive out of it. I know that's really hard to see and hard to accept, but I can say from my own life. So I'm going to share, like, my husband and I, we lost our first child, right? We lost our first child as a baby. So only lived one day. And it was absolutely devastating. And anyone that's out there listening, and you'll know, people, if I could say that I could flip a coin, I could flip a side of that and see that the message that was given to me that was so powerful is that it changed and transported my empathy level. It transported my ability to really hear people in the saddest, darkest moments, because I understood from a different level. It changed me from the inside out. It really propelled me into the life of coaching many years later. It was a seed that was planted that has grown in so many different ways. And so I use that as that you can have a dark moment and you can have an experience that is not, it's just sad, but there's something that was meant as a growth opportunity. And so I love to see people being able to, even in those times of getting to know themselves, taking those moments so that I can flip it to you being able to see that there's some nugget of positivity. And so it's like training from the inside out. It's allowing that to be you can find positive in that. Well, then there's all this other positive that's just positive. You match it all together and you start to redesign how you see things. And you redesign when opportunities come, your ability to see the positive that could be from something, as opposed to just what could go wrong. You think what could go right. It's a completely different way of living, and anyone can achieve it. Anyone, regardless of experience, if you make the commitment. And if you say, you know what, it's time I live a different way. I don't want to just beat up on myself. I don't want to just live in regret land. I want to know, how can I do these things? Can I really flip this?
I love what you're talking about. You know what comes to mind is, so are you familiar with the terminology Stockholm syndrome, right?
Yes, yes.
So Stockholm syndrome, ladies and gentlemen, for those that, I'll give you a brief rundown. It's kind of when somebody's abducted, somebody's kidnapped, or even in a marriage or relationship where maybe it's abusive. Well, sooner or later, the victim is so used to it that they start to defend the person that's hurting them. And it's just normal to them. Now it becomes a new normal. So the person that abducted them, they fall in love with them and they don't want to leave them now. But in reality, that's the person that kidnapped them in true life. Do you think so many times we have Stockholm syndrome with ourselves, where we fall in love so much with the negative attention? And I have a family member that's, it breaks my heart because I love this person, but they're always sick. They're always sick.
Right.
Oh, pray for me. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna pray for you, but it's like it comes to a point where you gotta make a decision too, to stop always wanting to be sick because, oh, you're not gonna come visit me, I'm in the hospital. And I'm like, it's not that I don't love you, but okay, the first time maybe, the second time maybe, but, and not that they're crying wolf, but in a sense they're crying wolf.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's amazing.
Does that make sense?
It makes 100% sense. One of the things that this just moves me beyond belief is that people have so much power inside. And it's not just something to, physically fit or losing weight. I'm not even talking about that. That's wonderful. Yes, you do have the power and the tools to do those things. But all the things that we talk about and all the things I coach on is your emotional, mental, physical health, all tied as in one. So you can have a direct impact on how often you're sick, how sick you are, how you look at sickness. Having people that I've worked with that have had, debilitating, ongoing disease, but their approach to life was a positive one. How so? How can they have a positive approach to life when they have something that's happening in their body? And it's a decision in part to really say, okay, these things may be happening physically, but I have the power in my mind which will have a physical impact on myself and on others, to see the world a little differently, to find when these gems come my way that I can recognize them, to bask in the beauty of the present, to be able to make relations and connections and know that's most important in life. And so I just really love the idea and the action item of giving people tools, no matter what their circumstance, to change how they live their life. Because whatever's going on, you still can have a happy life.
Yeah.
Whatever's going on, you still can see things in a positive light. You have the ability to do it. You have to make a choice. And a lot of my other things is just, people make a choice. Your cousin makes, I have relatives that make a choice. People make a choice every day, the way they want to live. And maybe it's subconscious, unconscious, but it's a choice.
So let me ask you this. So somebody's listening to this podcast episode and they're like, okay, I really want to change myself, Lisa. I want to say yes. I want to say yes, like Coach Lisa. How does somebody start building the confidence within themselves to be consistent on a daily basis? On that word you said, right? Incremental, right? Incremental steps. How does somebody start building that confidence to be consistent? And this person is saying, Lisa, I want to lose 100 pounds. I need to. I just don't have the confidence and I'm not consistent because I've broken promise after promises. I say I'm going to do it, then I go eat that cupcake. I say I'm going to do it, then I find myself binge eating. Speak to that person for a moment, if you don't mind.
Well, this is probably the area where I have so much love and compassion and understanding. Myself, having been a very constant yo-yo dieter for a lot of my life. So I know about going up and down and different diets and saying those words like, I just don't know how it happened, or I don't know why I ate this. I think the first and foremost thing is to really take a step back, a pause. And, as I said, I always start with my honesty clause. But here's the thing. Even I'm working with a client right now who has a lot of weight that wants to lose. But the point is, it's not just to come in and say, I want to lose 100 pounds. Yeah, that might be what ends up happening, but I want you to commit for a lifetime. So we start on lifetime commitments. So I start as simple as, here's a 5-minute exercise you're going to do every day. That's it. It's just 5 minutes. It's nothing. It's 5 minutes. The point is that 5 minutes is a short amount of time. But if you do it consistently over a period of time, you can notice a change in your body. More importantly, you now are getting that consistency in your mind. And your brain is saying, aha, you told me you would do 5 minutes. You actually did 5 minutes. You'll start to feel stronger. Suddenly it's 10, or I can add a little 30-minute on this or this. And then we add a little bit of walking. We add it each thing every time, not just in the losing weight, not just in the movement, but now how you make a choice on food, what you say about food, changing the relationship with you and fueling your body. It's a lifetime thing. And what I love is when people kind of say at the end of a month or 2 months, you know what, I put on this shirt, it never fit me and now it fits. And I wasn't stressed about it. I wasn't jumping on the scale every second. I wasn't pulling my hair out saying, when is it going to happen? It just happened because you calmed the body, you moved it out of stress. You showed the body that you would be consistent. And these are things that'll last you a lifetime. So I always love to say, I love to come into people's life for a season and give you everything and all the tools you need. And then you're going to see, wow, why was I stressing over this for so many years? It really is not a big deal. It's just my body taking in fuel and moving and doing the things that make me feel good. And reinforcing that every time you do something that's really good, you reinforce it, you will see change happen in a more rapid way and a more permanent way that you ever imagined possible, without stress and without the word diet. And
well,
I'm not saying it.
I love that. And I think when you said that, I thought about reading. Most people will say, well, I don't like to read. Well, the more you say you don't like to read, you're never going to like to read. I said, well, just start off by reading 5 minutes a day, right? If 5 minutes is reading one page, well, then if that's all you read in 5 minutes, well, then just read 5 minutes, read one page. If it's 2 pages for you, read 2 pages. And that's it. But the more you show up to read 5 pages, guess what? It's going to show up on a consistent basis. And I
Yes.
love the way you put that. Let me ask you this, Lisa. Since we're talking about consistency, what keeps Yes Coach Lisa consistent? What keeps you consistent on a daily basis?
Well, I have made a commitment to my morning routine. That's one of the things that I love. And so if I'm going to have people doing something, I'm doing something, right?
Yeah.
And so my morning routine, which I love, the first thing first is to write my thankful, grateful journal that I have. And I just almost with my eyes still half asleep, I just write down. I'll have to chicken scratch it sometimes. It doesn't really matter. I write what's in my heart at the second. I
I'm
just want
guilty
to
of
think,
that.
yeah, I just write it out. And then I, start with my prayers. I love to get up very early to do my exercise. I feel great. And I do a variety of different kinds of things, but whatever it is, it's a commitment on my part to do it daily, every day. Every day is something. And then I really, through that exercise, while exercising, I'm really setting a clear intention for the day and what's going to be accomplished and what's going to happen. And it sets your mindset, it sets you really ready to accomplish all. The other thing that I love, and this may work for some and maybe not for others, but before I go to sleep, I really set an intention also about the things that I'm really thinking about, not worrying about, not that kind of thinking about, but sometimes I'm, have something I'm going to be speaking on or whatever. And I'll say, God, really to share, I ask him to share with me. And so I get the best things with sleep and dreams and all of that. So it's just kind of like this circle of when I go to bed and the things that I do in the morning. And it really sets the tone. If I don't do those things, I can tell that day is going to be off. If I'm just jumping out and running, set a tone and really stick with it. That's
Love
my
that.
commitment. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about your book a little bit. Will you have a copy of your book with you?
Yes, I do. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pull it right from here. Hold
Yeah,
on
go
one
ahead.
second.
Take your time. And we're here with Yes Coach Lisa on the Daniel Gomes Inspire Show. Amazing wisdom. She's there and right there. Right, go get her copy right now on Amazon. Yes, commit, do, and live. Yes, commit, do, and live. Lisa Charles. That's a great book right there, ladies and gentlemen. I'll tell you, when somebody reads your book, Lisa, what is somebody there? What's going to be one of the main takeaways to take away from your book?
I think the main takeaway is that there is this brilliant brain body connection, and that they taking these steps can really tap into the most incredible internal power that they never knew was possible, that will take them through whatever circumstance, but also move them into just this greater state of excellence. So I talk in my book about, one of my favorite chapters is about ADL, age defying living. I call it AGE, age with grace and excellence. And I love just demystifying the whole aging process and giving people really that specifics on how they can really transform themselves from the inside out, but then enjoy the process. Because
I love
it should
that,
be
right?
fun.
Age defying process. This is true. One of the affirmations I tell myself, I'm getting younger and younger and younger. I am limitless. And I say that because if God can change back the hand of time, if God can stop time in the Bible, which he did for Hezekiah, I think it was, or it was either Hezekiah or Ezekiel. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but one of those, you know what I'm talking about. It's written in the word. But if God can do it back then and stop the hand of time, well, guess what? God can stop the hand of time over Daniel Gomes Inspires, because I believe it. And I tell myself, in all honesty, and I believe it, I'm getting younger and younger and younger. People say, how old are you? They think I'm 40. I'm like, I love you. Give me a kiss.
Then you give them 2 thumbs
up.
I love it because, I hear people so regretful of aging or scared of aging, or they put all these limits on themselves. Like, I haven't, I wish I had written a book, or I wish I had done this and that. And I'm like, my dad wrote his first book. My dad wrote a book when he was 89. So I don't think there's any limits. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to learn something outside or some kind of sport, learn the sport. I always say, jump into your age with pride and excitement and anticipation of what's to come. And don't be afraid of making certain challenges. I love the daily challenge of the brain, the body, and your beliefs. Anything that's limiting you, you're going to challenge it. Your body, you should be challenging it every day. Or as my cousin says, day.
Day.
So day.
So when someone reads your book, they're going to realize that
yes,
you can defy your age. I think so many people buy into that you're too young, you're too old.
Yes.
And then the thing is that especially if this goes for men and women. You know, they look at these eau de Volet commercials and they want you to get old because they want you to buy their products. It's all marketing. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. All the trash TV that you don't think affects you, it affects you. All the trash social media that you intake that you don't think it affects you, it affects you. I was reading, I don't know where I read it, but I saw it. It said over 50%. It was pretty high. I don't know the exact percentage, but I'm safe to say over 50% of the photos
are
on Instagram are
fake.
Fake.
Even
the models, even the ones that especially those that you see, they're touched up some way, somehow. And
you can touch up and you can add objects in your photo or take things out. If people are making their life based on what they see and limiting themselves in some way, you're really limiting yourself based on a false reality. I love something you said, though, Dan, and I really wanted to stress on all spectrums of aging. Like when you're young and people say you're too young to start a business or you're too young to do anything. And I love talking to youth that say, you got a great idea. You got a great idea. I saw this young girl on Shark Tank. I think she was 4 years old when she started her company. 6 years old, she has some kind of salad dressing company. You know, there's no time limit on one end or limit on any end to a great idea, to a passion, to a dream. So I love that idea of just opening up and freeing people from anything that's limiting them. This is really self-limitation. It's self-limitation is what you said to yourself. Like, I'm too young for this. I'm too old for that. I can't do this because, and there really is only the blanks that you filled in or you let society fill in for you.
Yeah. Well, think about it. What came to mind when you were saying that, God would rather use a 4-year-old that's going to listen than an adult that's going to be stubborn and hard-headed, right?
Exactly. Or if I say to a room, sometimes I'll do in my speaking, I'll say, hey, we're talking about age, like how old is everyone? Who's, and just to ask the question and see the response, like people don't want to say.
Oh,
I was looking around.
You don't ask
that's
a woman
personal.
That's
personal. So I say I'm 60. I'll just start the ball rolling because I
You're
think
not
it's
60,
fabulous. I am 60. I think it's fabulous. Dan.
You look 40, girl. You're not 60.
I love the whole concept of this. We're given this time on Earth to really celebrate.
Really 60?
I am.
I got to give you for looking young on the Daniel Golden Inspire show. She looks like she's 20 years younger.
That's just getting people to smile and laugh through their aging process and recognize it can be the way you want it to be. It doesn't have to be how society tells you it should be. So that whole thing is exciting to me. So that's one of the things you'll get in this. I hope just a zeal for.
Hold up your book one more time. That way when we put this on the video part of the show on YouTube, right? Yes. Commit, do, and live. You're listening to this on our podcast audio version. Yes. Commit, do, and live. Lisa Charles, go to Amazon. We'll have this in the show notes. Definitely. So what is a scripture or a quote that you rely on in times of adversity, Lisa? What is a scripture or a quote that you fall back on times of adversity? Or
yea, so I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall not fear, and God will always comfort me. So I kind of go back to the 91st Psalm. This one it was my mom's favorite. I'll read that. And there's so many different verses, but what came so clear to me is that I am not alone. And a lot of times I will just say, I'm not alone. And I know that I'm not alone, even in the deepest of struggle. And knowing that for me, that I'm a child of God, and that through strife, I can always have my Father to rely on. That is the greatest healing aspect. And I know all that have gone through so much, and I'm no different than anyone else. But it's probably one of the saddest things to me for people to feel that they are alone and that they're isolated. That we are so connected, that we were intended to be connected as a family, and that, you know, even in the moments where you physically don't have someone in your presence, that you always have someone with you. And that to me is so powerful. And I really give a lot of thanks to my parents for kind of instilling that all the way through youth. But you know, you can hear it as a child sometimes, but as you grow and experience it, being able to call upon those things is
I love
healing.
it. Somebody's listening to this amazing episode with Lisa, with Yes Coach Lisa. How do we get a hold of you if they want to get a hold of you, Lisa?
So best way to get a hold of me is simply go to my website, yescoachlisa.com, and join my email list, because I love giving like really great free stuff, some free information, but really kind of fundamental things that lead you to change. I have an amazing retreat coming up next year. So you're going to hear all those goodies that are coming. It's going to be reinventing the woman in 2023, doing it in the Dominican Republic. It's going to be phenomenal. And people are going to walk away with that true brain body connection. So, but yeah, my website, and definitely Instagram me, Lisa Embrace Fitness on Instagram. I love to have people come in and join my tribe.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And definitely we'll have all this information on the show notes, ladies and gentlemen. And my big takeaway from today was this: don't break the promises you make to yourself, because it'll rob you of your confidence. It'll rob you of your consistency. So maybe if you don't have the confidence you need, maybe if you don't have the consistency that you need right now in your life or your business, it's because, like Lisa taught us today, you're breaking those promises to yourself. Lisa, you were amazing. You're a rock star. Hold up your book one last time before we close out the show. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Go to Amazon, get your copy of Yes, Commit, Do, and Live here with Yes Coach Lisa. And woo, what an amazing episode here, the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. If you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, go to danielgomezglobal.com and go right now, right? What if I can help you take away the arguments from your marriage? What if I can help you and your wife stop arguing about money? Well, then you got to go to the makingsofamillionairemind.com. That's the makingsofamillionairemind.com. Let me help you solve not having enough money to the end of the month. Let me help you release that financial stress. Get our course, see if you qualify for our scholarship there at the makingsofamillionairemind.com, and take advantage of our scholarship. We have few left over, the makingsofamillionairemind.com. You can get the Makings of a Millionaire Mind course. It's been helping many of our clients get amazing results. Until next week, we'll see you here at the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show with another amazing guest. Thank you so much for joining us, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to danielgomezinspires.com and get your copy today. That's danielgomezinspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.